First of all,
Minister Mike, Minister.
I can tell you, the government will be purchasing the put, so it won't cost us annually. Obviously, the payment might be over 5 to 10 years, and that will be known in due course. Okay? Yes, we are going to purchase the put.
Mr. Speaker, we will now have a statement. There's a slight change to the order. So we will now have a statement by Minister Vaz, the Minister of Energy.
Member from Portland Western.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me use this opportunity to wish for you and the staff of Parliament and my colleagues a blessed New Year, rather than a Happy New Year in light of Melissa and the continued effects on our people. I take this opportunity at the first sitting of Parliament for 2026 to update the House and the country on the most important aspect of our nation's recovery, and that is electricity restoration. In response to Hurricane Melissa's, Jamaica Public Service activated a best-in-class restoration model to systematically restore electricity nationwide. As a result, 491 of 542,000 customers who lost power have now been restored. Mr. Speaker, this means 92 to 93% of the customers have been restored in record time. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, 51,000 of close to 700,000 customers are without power. 51,000 of 700,000. Jamaica's restoration response has performed well above regional peers and is close, if not best in class, with a level of recovery that is commendable and reflects disciplined execution, collaboration, and professional leadership. I would like to thank and express the country's gratitude to the management and staff and contractors of the Jamaica Public Service. Special commendation to the CEO, who continues to work tirelessly every day. Madam Speaker, Westmoreland has 34,603 customers. At this point in time, 17,096 are out. 49% remains out. St. Elizabeth, 46,145, 18,373, 40% out, or 60% on, depending on how you want to look at it. Let me just pause to remind Jamaica and to remind my colleagues that in December, Westmoreland was at 18% restoration. That was the middle of December. We are now at the middle of January, and we are now at 49%. Hanover, 16,733, only 2,799 are out. 17% remain out. St. James, 62,455, only 8,287 remain out. 13% in the second city. And Trelawney, 21,019 customers, for which only 2,501, 12% remain out. Manchester, 49,438, 2,001, 4% remain out. And St. Anne, For 47,334, 723 customers, 2%. The rest of the island has been fully restored in all other parishes. Mr. Speaker, these figures must be understood in context. Despite one of the most devastating natural disasters in our history, Jamaica did not experience an all-island blackout. Following the hurricane, 23% of customers retained service. This is as a result of investments in the grid, solid preparation for the hurricane, outstanding execution. Hurricane preparedness resulted in the proactive mobilization with additional linesmen and equipment on the ground before the hurricane made landfall. So just to put it in context, the JPS had a team of foreign contractors in the island before the hurricane hit. And subsequently, we brought 2 more sets of linesmen, approximately 300 linesmen with equipment that landed here. The linesmen landed here between the 15th of December and the 23rd of December. And the equipment, one set of equipment arrived here on the 27th of December and one on the 1st of January. So in real terms, the 300 linesmen that arrived there before Christmas couldn't do much because they didn't have their equipment. However, when the equipment came, one company has been on the ground for 3 weeks and the other for 2 weeks. And this is what you are seeing as it relates to the recovery. What is even more interesting is that when I made a statement in this house, there were many on the opposite side that were totally against it, led by the leader of the opposition. And I can say happily that good sense has prevailed. Good sense has prevailed, and everybody is posting what their success is in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth.
Minister.
Misleading, you take me a little wrong?
Turn your mic on.
The minister is misleading the House. The position of the opposition on that matter was that he had indicated that the necessary resources to restore the grid was $350 million US. And he came here to say that the government would be advancing essentially 100% of the cat bond proceeds to JPS as a loan, 150 million US, and he had nothing to say about the other 200, which he said was needed. And we were asking, how is it prudent to proceed in that way? He has flown off the handle, got extremely unpleasant about it, and has still not answered that question, incidentally. We were never against providing financing to JPS per se, but it was the absence of a proper coherent plan to fill a gap which he said existed. He said existed. And he has still not indicated what is the actual cost of restoring the grid. He has not said what the actual cost of restoring the grid is, but he's indicated that this 150 million seems to be adequate to do it. I don't know where the original $350 to $400 million US, which was what was being touted back then. What is the story with that, Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I would ask Hansard to be reviewed when the statement was made that they were not in support of the $150 million until we knew where the rest of the money was coming, and therefore they did not want the $150 million to be dispersed so the people could get back light. The people want light. Mr. Speaker, let me put on record so I can done the argument once and for all. The $150 million that was asked for and lent is the only thing that is on the table at this time to this government. We have no discussion or communication, verbal or written, about anything other than the $150 million to bring back light by the end of January. That is the situation as of now. So until something comes to me, there's nothing that I can tell. What I can say without fear of contradiction, that if we had followed them, we would still be waiting on light till the end of this year because of their bad mind. Madam Speaker, let me indicate 2.5 months after the passage of a Category 5 hurricane, important milestones have been achieved despite extreme engineering challenges, access, and constraints. All major hospitals and health centers have been restored, ensuring continuity of essential health care. The Black River Hospital got back light on Christmas Day. There has been 93% overall restoration of all National Water Commission pumps and water treatment facilities, supporting water security across Jamaica. And I say congratulations to my colleague Minister Samuda for his hard work and collaboration on this matter. Mr. Speaker, long-term system resilience is being strengthened, including the use of polecrete to improve resistance to pole uprooting, fiberglass components and transmission lines designed to withstand Category 5 conditions, and network redesigns to reduce cascading and domino-style failures. Restorations continue in Hanover, Westmoreland, St. James, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth, where the work is focused on the most complex last-mile challenges. Mr. Speaker, I want to indicate that as a nation, we must be clear about the reality of the remaining work. In the Western region, what remains is not simply restoration. It is a redesign and rebuild. The final phase requires infrastructure redesign and full rebuilds, compounded by access challenges including new line routes, land access, installation of thousands of poles, and conductors stringing over long distances. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I went to Westmoreland on Thursday and I witnessed 324 poles and 15 miles to get light to the Roaring River NWC station. That in itself is going to bring back approximately 50,000 customers in Westmoreland. Had to be done, despite the fact that when you connect NWC, you are only going to get about 1,000 other customers. You know why, Mr. Speaker? Out of the 51,000 customers that remain, about 21,000 are not ready to receive electricity because of the level of damage in their districts and their communities. So when I say that we're going to get 96% by the end of January, if you really look at it and take out the 21,000 that are not ready for electricity, we would be at almost full restoration in the timeline that the government gave when we loaned the money. We have gotten the performance that we desired, Mr. Speaker, despite the naysayers. So let me just indicate, Mr. Speaker, that we are on track and we are going to be in a position to reach there even quicker. Because if you recall, we had originally said January to end of February. But based on the work that has been done so far, we will use the month of February to try and get those 21,000 customers back up. And we're going to do it strategically, Mr. Speaker, because we're going to use a JSIF house rewiring. We're going to target those 21,000 customers to help them to get back light quicker. And we're going to use the grants that are going to be announced for rebuilding. We're going to target those grants from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to those 21,000 customers in those communities, because I suspect that one of the reasons why they are not ready for electricity is because they don't have the resources to put their house in a position such as that. So, Mr. Speaker, in one instance, 40 miles of lines were rebuilt with over 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker. 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, the member's time for speaking has expired. We ask that it be extended by 5 minutes.
The request is on the floor. Those in favor, those against, the ayes have it. Minister, you may continue. 5 minutes.
Forty miles were rebuilt with over 1,000 poles from Ferris to Cross to Hodges, Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, to restore just 2,000 customers. Mr. Speaker, restoration decisions are guided by societal impact, not just customer count. The importance of Roaring River National Water Commission Pump Station reflects the prioritization of critical facilities in the restoration strategy. The restoration of services this facility requires the building of 340 poles. And as I said before, we will get approximately 50,000 customers. Mr. Speaker, this is the good news when I close. You'll recall that there was a first of its kind emergency mobile power generation solution implemented at Treasure Beach on December 15th, engineered to safely provide electricity under the unprecedented conditions. Fuel logistics, load management, and system protection were carefully planned, and specialized equipment, including transformers, required to achieve the correct voltage. These solutions are not limited to Treasure Beach and are now being supported by heightened engagement with members of Parliament. Darlington will shortly, by next week, benefit from a solution supporting health center, police station, tax office, and the Maud McClough High School and Darlington Town Square, Clifton Boys Home, and surrounding communities to ensure continuity of essential public services and economic activities. The Magotty Hydro plant was utilized to create a Magotty Island, which restored thousands of customers while the rebuild and transmission lines continue. So, Mr. Speaker, by visiting last week, I realized that Darlington is in the interior. So it would take many months to get there. So they are using a special generation to do Darlington while they work from the seaside coming up. So it's a two-pronged approach. Mr. Speaker, what I can say is, as of today, by January 15th, 93% of customers are expected to have electricity restored. Restoration of the Roaring River pump in Westmoreland by January 15th, and the deployment of emergency mobile generation in Darlington the week of the 18th to the 24th. Continued partnership with local community leaders, members of Parliament, councillors, and leveraging local communication channels to provide updates on estimated restoration timelines will continue. The only thing that I will say, Mr. Speaker, that we are still not at yet, which I hope to be at shortly, is some kind of projection of those 50,000 customers in the communities as to when they can expect to get back light. It will be a projection, but it is required because at this point in time, those 50,000 customers are the last mile. They are anxious. They see everybody else getting light around them and they don't have light. And all they want is some kind of estimation as to when will they get light. So I spoke to the JPS before coming here today, and they have told me that they will provide me with that and continue to update the members of Parliament and the councillors and the citizens in the various areas. So I expect to have that by close of business tomorrow. So, Madam Speaker, I will stop at that just to say both Flow and Digicel are almost fully back up based on the fact that every time more customers and more areas get light, that helps them in terms of getting their systems back up. So, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, let me thank the country. Let me thank especially those persons hardest hit for their patience, for their confidence in a good government led by Andrew Michael Otis. Taking hard decisions and standing by them. But more importantly than the decisions is the monitoring to make sure that we get what was promised and committed to us on behalf of the Jamaican people. And I close by saying, commitment made, commitment kept. Help continues to be on the way. May God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Member from Kingston East and Port Royal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to join with the House Leader who earlier welcomed back members to this segment of the term for this financial year, and also to extend best wishes to the Deputy Prime Minister, who we haven't seen in a while. We hope that he will be fully restored. He's doing well, very, very, very well. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Energy has reported, and I believe a bit prematurely, because in his last statement, we were told that the government was going to commit some resources, $150 million US, to enable JPSCO to achieve full restoration of our country by the end of January. So sometimes we hear February creeping, but yeah. But I will give the minister the benefit of the doubt. And listen, we take no pleasure in people experiencing darkness. We want Jamaica to have a fully restored grid, and 100% of our people having access to electricity. And at no time did we berate the government for trying to assist in the funding. What we had a difficulty with was the arrangement that we were told about. And we still have a problem with it, because what the minister has said today is that those 50,000 customers in Westmoreland and elsewhere are not going to get their electricity.
By the end of January, 30 of the 51,000 will have back light. It is the 21,000 that is not ready to receive light that we have to work with through JSIF, through MLSS, and through whoever else to get them in a position. You're not even in the parish, so shut your mouth. You're in Clarendon and you have all of your light already. Shut your mouth. So, Mr. Speaker, the member is misleading the House. 30,000 of the 51,000 will get back light. And the other 21,000 we will work with as quickly as possible.
Minister.
But it is beyond.
Minister.
I'm on a point of order.
He's already on a point of order.
You sit
He's
down.
already on a point of order. He's already on a point of order.
Madam, sit down. I am on a point of order.
He's on a point of order.
I'm not yielding. Order, and I'm not yielding.
What is what?
I'm on a point of order.
He's already on a point of order.
You happy? You happy? You happy? You happy? Yeah, me say if you're happy. Yeah? I am Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Can you turn on my
members?
It's not on. It's red. Mr. Speaker.
Let me just address the situation. There's a certain decorum that we are accustomed to in this house. And if we go outside of that, then there are rules and guidelines that we can use to bring it back. Do not allow us to go down that road. The minister rose on a point of order. The minister rose on a point of order. And you allow him to continue. If you continue to go down that road, then we will use the standing order accordingly. Continue, Mr. Minister. Turn the mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will say it again for clarification. The 51,000 that are out as of now, 21,000 are not ready for electricity. We are going to use the rest of this month to work with the 30,000 customers who do not have light, who can be restored at the shortest possible time. What I am saying, to make it clear, is that we have no control over that 21,000. JPS can only move when the infrastructure is in place. And we're going to use JSIF, and we're going to use Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Ministry of Local, whichever government collaboration we can do to target that 21,000 in those 4 parishes. We will do so, or 5 parishes, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for your understanding, and I hope now that the matter has been cleared of the mischief and the misleading commentary.
Member from Kingston Eastern and Port Royal. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the minister, while he was speaking, on the mic, officially told us on the side to shut him out. And I heard nothing coming from you as Speaker of the House to call him to book. I believe that the uneven application of the rules is totally unacceptable. And this message to the students in the gallery is also one that is unacceptable.
Member from St. Andrew South. Member from St. Andrew Southwestern. You raised on a point of order. You made a statement, but yet you're the same one that when you sit down, you continue to do the same thing. If you're no, you're not. Stop. Because you're doing the same very thing. You're having a side chat. You notice I'm waiting for all of you to have your say? Because you do not have the floor and you continue to do the same very thing. Member from Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, you may continue.
Order.
Yeah. And stop throwing a tantrum. We need tantrum to our children.
We need to rule, though. We can rule.
We need tantrum to our children. You can't just throw tantrum like that.
Mr. Speaker, on the 25th of November, the minister had announced that for the provision of the $150 million, the government will be ensuring full restoration of electricity by January, February. I have a copy of the statement right here. It says full restoration. It says full restoration. January, February. So the question is, yes, the question is, are we on track to achieve that? Because the information that I have received, and we take no glee in this, is that we are not going to be able to get 100% restoration before April, based on what is necessary to carry out the so-called last mile restoration. So, Minister, I want to go back, therefore, to that discussion we had in Parliament on that day, when we were told that the full amount that it will cost the JPS to restore electricity was $350 million, US dollars. I think the country deserves an explanation. I don't think a minister can come here and give that amount of money and not reflect on that, not come back to say to us it was a bad estimate and that it was in fact 150 million. It requires some explanation. It requires some explanation. And we are insisting on that. We are insisting on that. The minister had also mentioned, that in lieu of that 150 million, the government has set certain terms in the agreement, in the loan agreement. And we have not yet seen a copy of that, and I'm hoping that the Parliament will be able to see a copy of the loan agreement so that we can put it to full scrutiny of the Jamaican people, so we know that we're getting value for our money. Again, I want to commend the workers of JPSCO. I want to commend the workers, right? I want to commend the people for the patience that they have displayed. I want to commend the representatives of the people who have been working alongside JPSCO to ensure orderly restoration. And I'm really hoping that we'll be able to meet that deadline. But I suspect, Minister, we're looking at April. Perhaps you can clarify that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Speaker.
Member from Westmoreland Eastern.
Thank you very much,